on Y News. The Department of Budget and Management assures foreign investments remain unaffected by the recent political noise. The DBM also reports that government spending went up by 12% in May. The Department of Information and Communications Technology releases terms of reference or guidelines in selecting the country's third telco player. And water concessionaires Maynilad and Manila Water lodge another petition to hike rates. Y News begins now.
From the UNTV News and Rescue Command Center in Quezon City, this is Y News.
Good evening. Budget Secretary Benjamin Jokno believes that foreign business confidence in the Philippines remains high despite the so-called political noise. Let's find out why from Rosalie Cos.
President Rodrigo Duterte keeps grabbing headlines with his recent pronouncements on various issues. One of this is his remark on the economy being in the doldrums or a state of no activity or improvement. But Malacanang is quick to explain that the president was referring to the slow progress of projects in the provinces, emphasizing the need to fast-track the government's mega infrastructure program. Budget Secretary Benjamin Jokno also says the Philippines remains as one of the top investment destinations in Asia.
We are in a very good place. Okay? We're doing very well. We're bound to be one of the fastest, if not the fastest growing economy in the fastest growing region in the world.
The official also believes that the recent political statements will not turn away investors.
I think the foreign investors know the facts also. Okay, they are intelligent people. They discount statements coming from the political side.
Finance Assistant Secretary Antonio Lambino also says investors take into consideration the tax rate, infrastructure, and anti-corruption measures in a country.
There are many considerations, but when we looked at the World Economic Forum survey that they conducted among investors, the number one thing that they care about is corruption. No, and we see that this administration is dead serious about addressing the issue of corruption.
Meanwhile, DBM also announces that the year-on-year spending of the government goes up by 12% as of May this year, reaching up to 292 billion pesos. Secretary Jokno says most of the overall government disbursements funded the administration's infrastructure projects as well as personal services in a form of mid-year bonuses to government employees and pay increase to soldiers and policemen. In the first quarter of the year, Jokno adds the government already spent 1.325 trillion pesos. The Budget Secretary is also confident that the government will achieve its disbursement target of 813 billion pesos for the second quarter. This would mean that the government is properly spending its allocated budget to its intended purposes. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Senator Gatchalian will not hesitate to file a resolution to suspend the last two rounds of the tax reform law if the government fails to fully implement cash transfer to poor Filipinos. Nel Maribuhok tells us why.
Senate Committee on Economic Affairs Chairman Gatchalian faces finance and social welfare development officials during a closed-door meeting this afternoon. The lawmaker wants to get updates regarding the implementation of the tax reform for acceleration and inclusion or TRAIN law and its impact to Filipinos. During an interview with the media, Gatchalian says the agencies have committed to fast-track the delivery of assistance to poor families bearing the brunt of TRAIN law.
By July, 8 million out of the 10 million ang mabibigyan na ng tulong. No? So, hopefully, makompleto yan by August. So,
the senator says they will strictly monitor the implementation of the assistance program, especially the distribution of cash transfer under the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program. He warns he will not hesitate to file a resolution to suspend the TRAIN law imposition if the government fails to fully implement cash transfer.
ang magiging recommendation ko, if ever talagang magiging malala ang sitwasyon, ibig sabihin ng presyo ng langis patuloy na tumataas, then we will strongly recommend the suspension of the Part 2 ng train.
The second tranche of the excise tax hikes under train law is expected to be implemented next year. Senator Bamakino, meanwhile, is worried over the possible increase in sugar prices, which will affect flour, bread, and other sweetened products. He also reiterates his call to suspend excise tax hikes on fuel products. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
The Department of Information and Communications Technology releases terms of reference or guidelines in selecting a new telco player in the country. The DICT says the government might be able to select the new telco player by September. Monokson tells us why.
The Department of Information and Communications Technology or DICT will conduct a public consultation next week as part of its market study in choosing the third major telco player in the country. This is after the DICT completes the draft of the Terms of Reference or TOR for the third telco player. It contains the rules and regulations for the selection process of the next telco player, but it can still change depending on the result of the public consultation among stakeholders.
Gusto namin maging very transparent, very objective yung paggawa ng selection process, no, yung mga terms of reference for the selection process. And then kung ito makuha na natin yung mga input, then ito ay gagawin na namin formal na magkakaroon ng memorandum circular.
Undersecretary Eliseo Rio Jr. says President Rodrigo Duterte has ordered to speed up the selection of third telco player, but Rio explains they will still need ample time. Yusek Rio notes President Duterte wants to announce the new telco player in his third State of the Nation address this July, but adds it's not yet possible.
Yun lang ang pwede namin maihabol sa SONA na may terms of reference na maging effective. At siguro immediately pagtatang SONA, yung mga interesadong maging third telco, yun ay kukuha na ng mga bid documents at alam na natin kung sino yung mga contestants, no?
The DICT will give interested parties until 2 months to create bidding proposals. The government will then choose the firm with the best guarantee of proper service. But Yusek Rio is not in favor of the request of the Department of Finance to auction off available signal or frequency. Rio explains Globe and Smart did not purchase the available frequencies back then. It would appear anti-competitive and unfair if the government will have the third telco player pay for the frequency when the two big telco firms got for free. The DICT assures that the country will have its third telco player by September. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Commission on Elections advises first-time voters to register early as it resumes voter registration next month for the upcoming elections. Mai Bermudez tells us why.
The Commission on Elections is set to resume voter registration for the upcoming polls. COMELEC scheduled a new round of registration from July 2 to September 29, 2018, as stated in COMELEC Resolution number 10392 released on June 19. According to COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez, the registration drive will be held nationwide. During these dates, the Commission will accept applications for new registration, reactivation, and reinstatement in the list of voters.
Kung ikaw ay first-time registrant, ito yung first time mong papasok sa sistema ng ating halalan at kailangan mong magpa-biometrics, no? Ibig sabihin, pupunta ka sa COMELEC office, mag-fill out ka ng application form, bibigay mo yung tamang pangalan, tamang address, and then kukunan ka ng tinatawag nating biometric.
Previously registered voters who wish to transfer their record to a different city or municipality or correct their data may also do so during this period.
So kung lumipat ka mula Quezon City, lumipat ka ng Cebu halimbawa, punta ka sa office ng Cebu at sabihin mo, dati akong rehistrado sa Quezon City, gusto ko ilipat yung rehistro ko dito. Wala kang dadaling papel, wala kang dadaling records, automatic na gagawin ng COMELEC yun para sa'yo.
The poll body also reminds the public to avoid registration hassles by proceeding to COMELEC offices early. Mass communication student Demian Ugay intends to do just that as she plans to participate in choosing the next government officials.
Mga nakaraang administrasyon po, di ba po, kadalasan po yung issue ay corruption, ganon, hindi pa rin po nawawala yung problema sa kahirapan. Ayun, gusto ko po sanang makita yung pagbabago doon, kaya gusto ko pong makibahagi sa pagboto.
COMELEC estimates around 1.5 million first-time registrants this registration period, which will start from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mondays to Saturdays. They also warn the public against people who roam barangays to distribute fake voters lists. The public may also report any information to COMELEC website and their official Facebook and Twitter accounts. Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Water concessionaires Maynilad and Manila Water appeal for an increase in their rates during a public consultation with the Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System. But some groups question the said petition. Monokson tells us why.
Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System, or MWSS, holds today a public consultation for the rate rebasing petition of water concessionaires. Maynilad is looking to increase its rate by 12 pesos per cubic meter, while Manila Water wants an 8 pesos and 30 centavos hike per cubic meter. The water concessionaires consider in the said computation its company income tax and other expenses. Every 5 years since 1997, Maynilad and Manila Water are adjusting their rates to recover their losses in improving their service. But in the earlier part of the meeting, tensions rose when the MWSS refused to divulge the exact amount of the proposed rate adjustment.
Kung pwede po paumanhin po na hindi namin po pwedeng mabanggit yung kanila pong hinihinging increase or whatever increase na pwede pong mangyari sapagkat pinag-aaralan pa po yung kanilang rate rebasing petition gamit po ang mga consultants.
And this is the first time na wala man lang numero na ibinibigay. Hindi natin alam kung magkano ba talaga hinihingi. Hindi po worth our time yung consultation pag hindi natin malalaman. Opo. Para saan ba lahat ito?
The MWSS, however, diffused the situation by explaining that the figures in the petition are yet to undergo revisions and approval.
We just feel that it is not necessary to reveal what they have petitioned for, since that number will go will have to undergo a number of revisions. Pinag-aaralan pa po ng consultant namin kung ano yung tamang presyo na ipataw sa ating mga consumers.
The agency also confirms that consumers will also have to shoulder the legal expenses of Manila Water when it filed a case against the water regulator and its alleged 72 million corporate income tax.
Yes, in-include po nila.
Kasama ang 72 million. Salamat po.
I'm not sure about the amount. Okay. Yung amount hindi ko ma-confirm. But the corporate income tax, yes, they are asking.
Salamat po.
But consumer groups are opposing the petition, saying it is unreasonable for the company to let consumers pay for their expenses when they earn billions of pesos yearly. Maynilad and Manila Water, however, reason out they need to hike their rates to fund projects that will improve their services. The MWSS will schedule another public consultation in the following weeks. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The closure of the Otis Bridge has caused heavy traffic in some areas of Manila. Meanwhile, the residents living under the bridge call on the government to help them relocate. Joanano will tell us why.
The closure of Otis Bridge in Paco, Manila following the discovery of its damages has caused bumper-to-bumper traffic on nearby roads. Trailer trucks and light vehicles are lining in a traffic standstill, although the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA opens alternative routes. Complaints from motorists experiencing heavy traffic along Quirino Avenue and Zamora Street flooded the social media. Aside from motorists, commuters complained the closure of the bridge.
Siyempre, malaking perwisyo. Di ba? Unang-una, dati isang sakay lang papunta rito. Ngayon, dalawa pang sakay.
Nadadagdag pa masay na parang imbis isang sakay lang, nagiging tatlo na.
According to the Department of Public Works and Highways, they will begin to demolish the Otis Bridge to replace it with a new one. Len Calagos, who has been residing under the bridge for 4 years now, says her family is ready to vacate their home as long as it's for their safety.
Bawa po na pag sinabi po nila na mayroon kaming matitirahan, yun po, automatic po kami na pupunta agad-agad. Kasi sa ngayon po talaga, wala po talaga mamano eh. matirahan. Hindi naman po kami pwede sa kalsada lang po kasi yung mga bata nag-aaral po.
The DPWH is coordinating with the local government of Manila for the relocation of the families living under the Otis Bridge. The agency also vows to do the construction 24/7 to achieve its target completion of March 2019. Joanna, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up from where Darlene Basingan left off. I'm Angelo Castro III, and here are the headlines. 2 uniformed officials relieved as investigation into the bloody misencounter in Samar continues. The Philippine National Police releases guidelines on arresting ordinance violators. And House Makabayan Bloc seeks probe on alleged Chinese influence in Marawi rehabilitation works. Good evening. President Rodrigo Duterte will possibly meet with the envoy to the Philippines of the Roman Catholic Pope, Italian Archbishop Gabriel Giordano Cassia. This was announced today by Pastor Boy Saicon, a member of the 3-man committee tasked by the President to conduct a dialogue with the Catholic Church and other religious groups. Saicon adds the papal nuncio extended the invitation to the President. President Duterte became more controversial after his tirades against the Catholic Church. 2 uniformed officials are relieved from their posts as the probe continues over the deadly misencounter between soldiers and policemen in Samar. The Armed Forces of the Philippines also insists its troops mistook the group of policemen as NPA rebels. Victor Cosare tells us why.
Troops from the 8th Infantry Division of the Philippine Army were on standby in San Roque, Santa Rita, Samar when their bloody misencounter with cops stationed in the area took place. Major General Raul Farnacio says they had received information about the presence of more or less 20 New People's Army or NPA rebels in the area. However, soldiers were not aware policemen were also conducting operations there.
They presume na walang ibang tropa doon. Yun siguro yung initial reaction niya. Nag-gunshot, not directly hitting them, pero nag-return fire. And they were surprised na marami pala.
Regional Director of PNP Region 8, Police Chief Superintendent Mariel Magaway, says cops regularly conduct operations in the area.
It should be an intelligence-driven operation. Kung may presence ng armed groups, doon sila nagre-react. Nagkataon lang na meron yung operation nearby place yung elements ng 87th ID.
The military says the 2 groups were shocked and exchanged fire for 30 minutes, which resulted to the deaths of 6 cops and injured 9 others. There are no casualties on the part of the 87th Infantry Battalion. Authorities are now investigating the 27 soldiers who are part of the operation. Superintendent Glenn Oliver Cinco, the officer in charge of the Regional Mobile Force Battalion 8, and Chief Inspector Don Archie Suspene, the team leader of the 33 policemen involved in the misencounter, were relieved from their posts. PNP Chief Police Director General Oscar Albayalde says the joint investigation of the AFP and PNP is focused on the coordination of the military and police on the operation. Meanwhile, Albayalde personally gave medals of Sugatang Magiting to 7 policemen wounded in the misencounter in Santa Rita, Samar. The wounded policemen are still being treated in hospital while 2 of them need to undergo operation. Albayalde assures to extend aid for the wounded cops and their families. He also insists that the incident will not affect the relation of the PNP and the AFP.
Wala pong gusto naman dito sa nangyaring ito. I'm sure both parties, whether the Armed Forces of the Philippines or the Philippine National Police, ay hindi gustong mangyari itong nangyari na ito. At sa ating mga nasugatan, we pray for them.
Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Philippine National Police releases guidelines on arresting violators of city and municipal ordinances amid criticisms it drew in rounding up street loiterers. Leah Ilagan tells us why.
The Philippine National Police, or PNP, has once again denied violating the rights of loiterers, insisting anew that it only arrests violators of city and municipal ordinances. To further clarify its move, the PNP releases guidelines on arresting ordinance violators.
Let me clearly emphasize that there was never any misinterpretation of our President's earlier directive to the PNP to do everything within the bounds of the law. Mere loiterers were never targeted, only those violating local ordinances.
Based on the guidelines issued to ground commanders, unit commanders or chief of police should lead the operation. The arrest should be made only on violators of ordinances like those smoking and drinking in public areas, going half naked in public, using karaoke beyond the allowed period, and minors violating curfew hours. The operation should be coordinated with local and barangay officials. Cops should also follow its rule in their operation. General Albayalde explains the PNP just want to perform its mandate to provide the public with an orderly and peaceful way of living.
Ito ay ikinatutuwa naman ng karamihan. Nakakalungkot po lamang na ito ay hindi nasasang-ayon sa personal na layunin ng maingay na mangilan-ilan.
In line with this, the PNP vows to protect the rights of everyone. But the Commission on Human Rights or CHR worries that violation of rights might still happen if cops fail to understand what human rights is.
Guidelines or no guidelines, ang importante is na intindihan ba ho ng ating mga kapulisyan kung ano talaga ang human rights, at saka ano ang mga karapatan ng ating mamamayan. Kasi ang guidelines naman, anong binasa ko, generally, it doesn't naman say specifically kung anong dapat gawin talaga ng mga kapulisyan.
The CHR says the PNP should constantly remind its men to follow their guidelines in conducting arrests. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Krame.
Local officials rescue some children selling sampaguita flowers along the busy streets of Quezon City following a viral video of a little girl found sleeping on a center island. They also warned charges will be brought against parents who are forcing their children to work at a very young age. Here's why from Bernard Dadis.
A video of a little girl sleeping in a center island along the Congressional Avenue in Quezon City goes viral in social media with over 5 million views. It was taken by Adam Timoteo, who wanted the authorities to save the child from street according to his post. These prompted the officials of Barangay Bahay Toro in Quezon City to scour the street last night. They found the 7-year-old child in the same spot along with the other children and their mothers selling sampaguita. The local authorities rounded them up and brought to the barangay hall where they were counseled on the dangers of loitering in the streets.
Kailangan hindi po kami magsawa ng kakasaway sa kanila, hindi po kami mapagod, dapat po lagi kami iikutan para pagsabihan, kahit nga po paulit-ulit na. Kailangan po kasi para din po sa mga bata.
Local authorities are planning to file child exploitation charges against these parents for letting them work for money at such a tender age. But parents in defense say they are forced to let their children work as they have no one else to help them earn a living.
Ilan po yung mga anak niyo?
13. Siyempre sa hirap ng buhay ngayon, ay kung hindi kami kakayod sa tumikuan pang kahit araw-araw namin. Siyempre, kasawa namin ang sawa niya pabay na tubig ilaw bahay. Ang amin po, suporta lang bilang asawa. Yung mataan niya pag-aral.
The children and their mothers spent the night at the barangay hall before the minors were turned over to the Department of Social Welfare and Development. The barangay official also reminds parents to send their children to school than forcing them to work.
Huwag nilang pagtindahin ng sampagita sa gitna ng island kasi pwedeng madisgrasya yung mga bata anytime. Pwedeng makakuha ng sakit anumang oras dahil sa nalalanghap na usok. Tapos may init ulan pa. Imbis na sana pagtindahin, pag-aralin nila yung mga anak nila.
Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Department of Education reminds schools about the existing no assignment on weekend policy as it underscores the welfare of the students. Charlie Barredo tells us why.
It has been years since the Department of Education issued an order refraining teachers from giving homework to students during weekends. In the memorandum issued on September 2010, DepEd asked teachers to limit the giving of assignment to give students enough time to rest and spend time with family. A public school principal assures they are aware of the policy and teachers put this into practice.
So far, so good. We are just on the third week of the school year, and we have not failed to remind our teachers on that policy.
However, some teachers admit they still give homeworks to students so family members can help them during weekends.
Kasi pwede rin naman silang i-assist ng kanilang brothers or sister or parents nila para lalo nilang maintindihan yung lessons.
Some parents also confirm their children are still doing assignments at home, but they see nothing wrong with this.
Hindi, mas okay naman po para mas matutukan naman nilang ginagawa nila yung, kumbaga, yung project na yung parang pag-aaralan din, kinabukasan din nire-relate naman ng teacher.
Despite this, DepEd urges schools to strictly follow the no homework on weekend policy for kinder to grade 6 students, underscoring students' welfare and family time. The agency also advises the public to visit DepEd Division regional offices should they wish to file complaint or seek help with other related matters.
They can go to the first, of course, the line is the division office, so it's nearer kasi we have division offices in each of the district. And then meron po tayong regional office, so pwede rin po doon, no, bawat.
Charlie Barreto, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Davao City Police is currently probing the spread of the so-called candy drug after photos of it went viral on social media. Here's Diane Ventura to tell us why.
This post showing the selling of a candy drug at a school in Davao City went viral recently. The drug is called Strawberry Quick, a type of crystal meth. This prompted the Davao City Police to probe the incident and prevent its spread, especially among the youth.
Even toddlers, no? Wala ta kabalo, mamaya baking biktima. So, we have to see to it na ma-ensure nato ni ang safety sa mga kabataan and maproteksyonan nato ang tanan.
Online reports say there are no verified cases yet of the minors using it, although there are news about the said drug. Despite this, authorities say they will not disregard the matter.
So paymangno pod nato sa mga kabataan na dili basta-basta mo dawat og mga candy or whatsoever forms na i-intake nato, no? Basta-basta lang. Sa dili nato kaila nga mga tao, even pod sa kaila nato dapat ma-ensure jud nato na safety ta.
Meanwhile, Police Regional Office 11 Director Police Chief Superintendent Manuel Gaelan orders school administration to install closed-circuit television or CCTVs in strategic areas to monitor school campuses. Diane Ventura, UNTV News and Rescue, Davao City.
Opposition congressman is looking to probe the ongoing rehabilitation works in Marawi City. On Wednesday, House Makabayan Bloc representatives filed a resolution seeking for an investigation into an alleged report that some Chinese corporations are getting the favor of the government to manage the rehabilitation works in the war-torn city. Bayan Muna Party List Representative Carlos Zarate accuses the administration of taking advantage of the martial law to serve the interest of the said Chinese firms.
Bilyon-bilyon ang gugugulin ng gobyerno. Pero sa ngayon, kahit na mga residente ng Marawi ay at a loss, no? Ano ba talaga ang tunay na plano sa Marawi?
The Supreme Court resets the oral argument on the petition questioning the legality of the Philippines' withdrawal from the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court or ICC to August 7. SC directs the respondents in the consolidated petitions filed by 6 opposition senators to comment within 10 days. This include Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano, Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, Philippine Representative to the United Nations Teodoro Locsin, and Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo. Senator Leila de Lima meanwhile appealed to the High Court to allow her to attend the said oral arguments. She insists in the 4-page manifestation that the SC should let her to personally represent herself as one of the case's petitioners. De Lima and 5 other lawmakers filed a petition for certiorari on May 18, 2018 to challenge the administration's withdrawal from the Rome Statute without the Senate's approval. The Department of the Interior and Local Government begins its audit on local officials who failed to implement the campaign against crime and illegal drugs. DILG Secretary Eduardo Año says they will probe how the governors, mayors, and village chairmen use their intelligence fund. For now, the DILG is still gathering evidences in relation to the complaints against the said local officials. Grace Casen, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
Members Church of God International receives award from Singapore Red Cross as the world marks 15th Blood Donor Day. Here's why from Mary Jo Maliriado.
Singapore Red Cross recognizes anew the members Church of God International as one of the outstanding blood mobile organizers for its efforts in facilitating bloodletting drive and for donating over 400 blood units. This is during the celebration of the 15th World Blood Donor Day held at the Gardens by the Bay. This is not the first time that MCGI is awarded over blood donation, as it also received the Gold Award in 2017 for collecting over 500 units.
Well, once again, I want to thank MCGI for being a regular and dedicated partner of the blood program. I want to ask that you continue to keep up your good work and encourage your members to become regular blood donors.
MCGI conducts regular bloodletting drive in different parts of the world under the advocacy of its overall servants, Brother Eli Soriano and Brother Daniel Razon, to help people in need.
Ang palagi nating pagtitiwala ay sa Panginoon. Salamat sa Diyos sa guidance ni Brother Eli at ni Kuya Daniel. Ang MCGI Singapore ay nagiging maliit na kasangkapan sa pagsagip ng buhay dito sa Singapore. Kaya patuloy kaming nananawagan sa ating mga kababayan na patuloy tayong mag-donate ng dugo. Salamat sa Singapore Red Cross sa kanilang patuloy na pag-recognize sa MCGI Singapore.
The SG Red Cross also honors 1,720 blood donors, with 21 of them receiving the Medal of Life Award. This is the highest award given to individuals who have donated blood for more than 200 times. The group says they mainly use the blood for patients with thalassemia cancer, those who figured in accidents, and donor transplants. The agency also urges young people to donate blood to help save more lives.
As the population ages, more and more people will need life-saving procedures, and at the same time, people will not be able to donate because they are not too well or they are too old. And therefore, we need to increase the number of young donors.
The overall donor population has grown from 60,000 to 73,000 in the last 10 years. But still, Singapore Red Cross continued to introduce new initiatives and sought different avenues to increase the number of donors, especially among the youth. Mary Jo Maliriado, UNTV News and Rescue, Singapore.
The local government of Alberta, Canada celebrates annual feast in honor of Filipino migrants. Leslie Longbowen will tell us why.
Filipino Curl Reyes has been working for the Canadian government since he migrated 6 years ago. He considers Canada as his second home, just like the thousands of Filipinos working in the country.
I'm glad to say na very welcoming naman yung Canadian community sa mga migrants.
Based on the data from Alberta Municipal Affairs, there are 64,000 Filipinos in Edmonton City alone, and to recognize their economic contribution, the local government of Alberta holds annual Philippine Fiesta.
Maraming mga Pilipino na nasa Fort Mac, maraming Pilipino na nagtatrabaho sa iba't ibang skilled trades. So ang contribution natin talaga ay napakalaki at ito ay i-recognize na ng Alberta government.
The Philippine Fiesta event is commonly held during Philippine Heritage Month in June, featuring everything about Filipinos. Canadians and other races get to enjoy various Filipino dishes showcased here and learn as well about their values and culture.
The part that I like is they're honest, they're very loyal, they're very
open, always smiling, happy. I really enjoy, being among them, singing karaoke, and enjoying the life the way it is. Even if sometimes it's hardship, like for everyone, but it's still they manage to be happy.
Philippine Heritage Month is also celebrated in other Canadian cities like Toronto. Leslie Longboan, UNTV News and Rescue.
To complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. The Philippines remains as one of the top investment destinations in the world. According to Budget Secretary Benjamin Diokno, foreign business confidence in the country remains high despite the so-called political noise. In the past few days, President Rodrigo Duterte has been grabbing headlines over his controversial statements. He even remarked that the Philippine economy is in the doldrums. But Malacanang said the chief executive was referring to the slow progress of projects in the provinces. Secretary Diokno believes the recent political statements will not turn away investors.
I think the foreign investors know the facts also. Okay, they are intelligent people. They discount statements coming from the political side.
Meanwhile, the DBM also announces that the year-on-year spending of the government goes up by 12% as of May this year, reaching up to 292 billion pesos. The official attributes the increase to completed infrastructure projects and higher government personnel pay. Meanwhile, the Department of Information and Communications Technology releases terms of reference or guidelines in selecting a new telco player in the country. It contains the rules and regulations for the selection process, but it can still change depending on the result of the public consultation among stakeholders next week. Undersecretary Eliseo Rio Jr. says President Rodrigo Duterte ordered to speed up the selection of the third telco player, wanting to announce it during his third State of the Nation address in July. But Rio appealed for more time as interested parties were given 2 months to create bidding proposals. The DICT assures that the country will have its third telco player by September.
Gusto namin maging very transparent, very objective yung paggawa ng selection process, no, yung mga terms of reference for the selection process. And then kung ito makuha na namin yung mga input, then ito ay gagawin na namin formal na magkakaroon ng memorandum circular.
Water concessionaires Maynilad and Manila Water appeal for an increase in their rates during a public consultation with the Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System today. Maynilad is looking into increase its rate by 12 pesos per cubic meter, while Manila Water wants an 8 pesos and 30 centavos hike per cubic meter. The water concessionaires consider in the said computation its company income tax and other expenses. But consumer groups are opposing the petition, saying it is unreasonable for the companies to let consumers pay for their expenses when they earn billions of pesos yearly. But Maynilad and Manila Water insist they need to hike their rates to fund projects that will improve their services. MWSS meanwhile assures they will study the petition to ensure correct rates.
We just feel that it is not necessary to reveal what they have petitioned for, since that number will go will have to undergo a number of revisions. Pinag-aaralan pa po ng consultant namin kung ano yung tamang presyo na ipataw sa ating mga consumers.
In other news, 2 uniformed officials are relieved from their posts as the probe continues over the deadly misencounter between soldiers and policemen in Samar. These are Superintendent Glenn Oliver Cinco, the officer in charge of the Regional and Mobile Force Battalion 8, and Chief Inspector Don Archie Suspenye, the team leader of the 33 policemen involved in the misencounter. The military also maintains its troops mistook the group of policemen as NPA after receiving reports about the presence of around 20 rebels in the area. Unaware that policemen are also conducting operations then. Policemen and soldiers exchanged fire for 30 minutes, which resulted to the death of 6 cops and injured 9 others. There are no casualties on the part of the 87th Infantry Battalion. Authorities are now investigating the 27 soldiers who are part of the operation.
They presume na walang ibang tropa doon. Yun siguro yung initial reaction niya. Nag-gunshot, not directly hitting them, pero nag-return fire. And they were surprised na marami pala.
Meanwhile, PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde personally gave medals of Sugatang Magiting to 7 policemen wounded in the misencounter. He also insists the incident will not affect the relation of the PNP and the AFP.
Wala pong gusto naman dito sa nangyaring ito. No? I'm sure both parties, whether the Armed Forces of the Philippines or the Philippine National Police, ay hindi gustong mangyari itong nangyari na ito. At sa ating mga nasugatan, we pray for them.
Meanwhile, the Philippine National Police released guidelines to further clarify its move in arresting violators of city and municipal ordinances. Based on the guidelines issued to ground commanders, unit commanders or chief of police should lead the operation. The arrest should be made only on violators of ordinances like those smoking and drinking in public areas, roaming half-naked in public, using karaoke beyond allowed period, and minors violating curfew hours. The said operation should also be coordinated with local and barangay officials, and cops should also follow each rule in their operation. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde explains they just want to perform their mandate to provide the public with an orderly and peaceful way of living.
There was never any misinterpretation of our President's earlier directive to the PNP to do everything within the bounds of the law. Mere loiterers were never targeted, only those violating local ordinances.
Opposition congressmen are looking into the probe ongoing rehabilitation works in Marawi City. On Wednesday, House Makabayan Bloc representatives filed a resolution seeking for an investigation into an alleged report that some Chinese corporations are getting the favor of the government to manage rehabilitation works in the war-torn city. Bayan Muna Party List Representative Carlos Zarate accuses the administration of taking advantage of the martial law in Mindanao to serve the interest of said Chinese firms.
Bilyon-bilyon ang gugugulin ng gobyerno, pero sa ngayon, kahit na mga residente ng Marawi ay at a loss, no? Ano ba talaga ang tunay na plano sa Marawi?
Maker Mattel introduces a new Barbie doll with coding skills, while a Los Angeles eatery serves up a glittery pizza gains popularity in California. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
Barbie, the world's most iconic doll, is venturing into coding skills in her latest career as a robotics engineer. The new doll, launched on June 26, aims to encourage girls as young as 7 to learn real coding skills. Thanks to a partnership with the kids' game-based computing platform Tinker, toy maker Mattel said. Robotics engineer Barbie, dressed in jeans, a graphic t-shirt, denim jacket, and wearing safety glasses, comes with 6 free Barbie-inspired coding lessons designed to teach logic, problem solving, and the building blocks of coding. The lessons show girls, for example, how to build robots, get them to move at a dance party, or do jumping jacks. Sparkling Rainbow Pizza is bringing a touch of bling to the menu at a pizzeria in the California beach town of Santa Monica, west of Los Angeles. The pizza, named Magical AF, combines a margarita pie with brightly colored edible glitter.
It was really good. I liked it a lot. I like how when you put your fingers on the cheese, there's glitter on your fingers.
It's colorful. I looked at it and I thought, okay, pretty good.
Dagwood's Pizzeria started making the glitter pizza as a limited edition menu item last year, but high demand from eager customers spotting it on the restaurant's social media sites forced them to bring it back. And Peter says its popularity has ensured it's not going anywhere.
I've noticed everyone from kids that are like 2 years old losing their minds over it to people that are in their 70s ordering these pizzas.
Leslie Longboan, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news, June 27, 2018. On behalf of Darlene Basingan and Angelo Castro III, I'm William Thio. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.